This is Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. My name is Herb White, I'm editor-in-chief at your Charlotte Post. This is Cameron Williams.
Your Charlotte Post.
Absolutely. Your Charlotte Post.
Staff reporter.
Staff reporter he
my
is.
title.
It is Thursday, December 11, 2025.
State Championship Day. Woo!
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And Hough High School is going for its very first in program history. They play Raleigh Millbrook tonight at 8 p.m. in Chapel Hill. And you've been all over this story.
Some would say too much.
Well, it all depends on what you're into, I guess. But the main thing is they're playing for a piece of history. And they're 13-0. Millbrook is the same. But if you talk to anybody around here, if they were laying odds on it, they would say it's going to be a runaway in favor of Hough.
If I were to set a line for this game, I would say Hough minus 7.5. I think covering a touchdown right about that area would be a good line. Now, what I'll say about this matchup, it is a reporter's dream to cover two undefeated teams, both going for their first ever state championship. This is the first time either team's been to a state championship. Both teams right around 39 points per game on average. Only giving up. So Millbrook's got 515 points for on the season, only 72 allowed, compared to Hough's 504, only 93 allowed. So it is on paper an even matchup. Some of the things that I'd take into consideration is, strength of schedule, who played who, that type of thing. And Hough has a bit of a tougher strength of schedule. And I think just playing in Charlotte, playing some of these teams around here is going to favor them in this game. Not to say Raleigh's not got talent. I mean, Millbrook has played a lot of tough teams. Garner made a solid playoff run. They beat them 34-13. Rolesville's been on the up and up last several years. Beat them 28-7. So, but when you look at teams, Wakefield, Enloe, not as good. Athens Drive and Wake Forest, and this isn't your older brother's Wake Forest. This is not as good of a Wake Forest team. So I think based on who they played, Hough should be favored. They played a tougher schedule, but you can't argue 13-0 and putting up 515 points on the year. So
then does this come down to one side of the ball versus the other in terms of, obviously both sides can light it up.
Mm-hmm.
So would you anticipate a lot of offensive razzle-dazzle that'll leave them clamoring for more at the end? Or will it be a matter of someone's defense is going to step up, because neither team has given up more than 100 this year in terms of points. So which side of the ball do you think will be decisive?
Well, decisive is going to be defense. Offensively, I don't see this game getting very high scoring at all. I think when and if Hough gets ahead, they're going to really try to control the clock with their running game. But Millbrook's defensive line is really solid. They've got 3 guys with 6 or more sacks and 1 guy with 15. One of, I think, I read somewhere, there's only like 5 guys with more than 14 sacks, and this guy, Rashad Streets, was one of them for Millbrook, junior defensive end. So, defense, and I mean, if Millbrook's defense is able to keep Hough off the board early, we could be looking at something like a 14-10 type game. Hough has been on the winning side of a 14-10 game to start the year against South Point, but I don't see this game being very high scoring. Millbrook has had high scoring games, but if you look at their recent matchup in the East Regional Final against Hoggard, that was a 14-7 game. And holding Hoggard, who was averaging over 35 points a game, to 7 points, tells you Millbrook's defense isn't anything to just spit at either. So they're good. I honestly think Hough wins this one like 17-7, maybe 21-10 if maybe. I'm just saying I don't think you're going to see both teams put up 20 plus.
So 41-38 is not where you would see this going.
No. Hough's defense hadn't even given up close to sniffing, giving up 38 points, and it won't happen this game either.
I mean, if you like offensive football, you can dream, right?
Yeah,
But
but this game, there's too many good players on the defenses for both teams. I'm looking at Millbrook, particularly Quentin Cipher, a junior middle linebacker. And one thing I'm noticing, there's a lot of underclassmen making plays for this team, so they're going to be back. 11 and a half tackles per game. They've got three guys with 4 interceptions on the year, 2 linebackers and 1 defensive back. It's going to be a good one. I mean, their quarterback's got 24 passing touchdowns on the year. I know Ethan Royal for Husk's got 25, equal in that department. I think Ethan's a bit more of a threat on his legs than Bryson Gray from Millbrook, but yeah, like I said, defense win championships. Coach Baker even told me that Monday at the NCHSA press conference. He's like, so I think our offense oftentimes gets overshadowed because of how good our defense is. You know, we may put up 35 points, but the defense is shutting out the opponent. So, yeah, defensive game. That's what I'm forecasting.
the emotional side of it. Two schools that have never been at this level before. Which one will blink for being just happy to make the final? And which one is
maybe both? That even further, I guess, bolsters my point of this game being defensive, because first quarter might be 0-0. I think that both teams are going to be antsy. It's only natural. You can prepare all you want to at your own practice, at your own school in practice, and the coaches can beat it into you. Let's not let the moment get too big. It's human nature. It's exciting. You're at your first state championship. You're a part of your first state championship as a school. And you're a part of that. Subconsciously, it's just something that you're not going to be able to really overcome. And which team is going to get out of that first is what I'm going to be watching for. Which team's going to settle in and start making the plays that they've made all year. But early on, I see this game being very, I don't want to say sloppy, but I want to say very just struggling to get out the gate. Mm-hmm. And I think once Hough settles in, their defense, maybe the biggest thing in this game is which defense is going to force a turnover that's going to change the complexity of the game. Set their offense up in a short field, get an easy score, and from there, we'll just see how it goes. But I think the team that scores first could win this game.
Don't forget my favorite, special teams.
Oh, well, both teams have solid special teams. I mean, I know Hough for many, many years now has prided themselves on having good special teams. They have a really solid place kicker. I know in the West Charlotte game 2 weeks ago, the biggest play was a special teams play where they fell on a kind of a botched snap to the West Charlotte punter and set them up in a great field position situation. So I think it's going to be a solid game, but I do think Hough will separate themselves at the end. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think the historic nature of this is big. Like you said, both schools are going to be feeling that. And sometimes mentally you can just feel the weight of the world because this is something that hasn't happened before. And some folks, let's face it, when they get into the playoffs, if you've never been to the playoffs before, there's a certain anxiousness about that. It's like, well, we've never done this before, and we're just happy to be here. So what do we have to lose? We're playing with house money. Same thing for teams that haven't been in a final before. Mm-hmm. We're just happy to be here. We're playing with house money. So two teams playing with house money, does that then create something where it's like, whoever decides that it's an opportunity to be seized as much as it is to be appreciated, that'll be the team that will get out of its way first, mm-hmm. I think. And the interesting part about this is because you don't know what either team is going to do because they're both new to it. So that's interesting and exciting as well. So we'll just see how that all turns out.
I mean, both of these teams are top 100 ranked in the nation. Hough 65th and Millbrook 93rd. I think we are in for a treat. I really do. I think from just a North Carolina standpoint, Hough's ranked 3rd and Millbrook's ranked 4th in the state, only behind Grimsley and Providence Day. So 3 and 4, Should be a good one.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Huff is number one in the Magnificent Seven, so
Well, they won't move.
no, they're going to end the season there. So that cat is already out of the bag.
Well, earlier my point about strength of schedule, Huff's is a 30.6 compared to Millbrook's 19.1. So if you're basing it on that, that's kind of proves my point. Huff, out of the top 5, they've got the second highest strength of schedule, only behind Weddington, which theirs is 33.5. So West Charlotte had a 35 strength of schedule.
And we know how that turned out when they got together. So basically what it comes down to is who's the hot team today, because today's all you have left. And we can officially retire high school football for 2025.
No.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And we can't close out our high school football coverage of this particular podcast without talking about something that happened 6 days ago. West Charlotte, as you mentioned before, is in transition and looking for a new coach. You had the scoop on that, beat everybody in Mecklenburg County on that. So there you go. And talk a little bit about that situation with Coach Sam Greiner and where we are as of today.
It's a story, or it's news that you hate having to break because, as a reporter, you don't want to get too close to the people you cover. But Sam's a friend. I'll go on record and say that he's a friend. He's a good guy. To my knowledge, he's being investigated, and we don't really know exactly what it is for. I've seen several things on Facebook, West Charlotte parents essentially insinuating there was some mistreatment of players, this, that, and the other. I don't know the facts. I couldn't get a comment from Sam. Clearly, he wasn't able to comment while the investigation goes on, but I couldn't get a comment from the principal at West Charlotte, Paula Cook. They're being tight-lipped about it. What we do know, he's out as head coach. He won't be in that role anymore. But, yeah, it's tough to break that kind of news because when you know a guy's character, you don't think he would do something like they're trying to accuse him of. We'll see if there's any evidence substantiated whenever the investigation's over. But, I mean, you can't argue his coaching record. I mean, led the Lions to a state championship, led Harding out of the pits of absolute misery. Same story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, West Charlotte was through like 9 coaches in 10 years or something, and it was a rough go at West Charlotte before Sam got there. Had to vacate his wins due to an ineligible player in his first year, but then steadily rose and rose and rose. Ultimately, state champion, West Regional Final appearance this year, and he's out. So it's rough. And our thoughts are with the family. Just the situation isn't a good situation. No matter if he's in the wrong, if the school's in the wrong, just the situation as a whole is terrible for any coach, and we'll see what unfolds in the coming weeks.
You can't argue with Sam Greiner's legacy, and it speaks for itself. That resume is pretty strong. He's gone into a pair of programs with West Charlotte and Harding, and like you said, lifted them out of the pits of misery, among other things, and turned them into state title winning teams. West Charlotte has a bit more of a recent run of success before he got there, but then there was that dry period where basically after Maurice Flowers left, West Charlotte went downhill fast. And there was a little bit of an uptick when the late Mo Collins took over the program. And then when he passed away, down they went again. And so I don't know if West Charlotte is moving on. What type of coach will it take to keep that program
at the level it's
solid and where it is?
That's $1 million question. I wish I had the answer to it. I mean, coaches like Greiner, I mean, people, whether you like his persona or not. He can be rough around the edges. Some like to say arrogant. He's never struck me as arrogant, but whether you like his character or not, you can't argue the results on the field. And to get rid of a guy like that, and yeah, I know he's under investigation for whatever it may be, but it's going to be tough to replace the production that he's given that school. And it's unfortunate for West Charlotte because I know they're right here. They're in our demographic as far as what we like. We know the service journalism we do here in the community, and in layman's terms, it sucks for West Charlotte. They had a good coach that knew the X's and O's well, and he connected with the players well. And so that's one thing. The biggest caveat to this whole thing is like, I know, and I've talked with a few players now. The general consensus is they like him. So, what really is this investigation for? If it is for whatever these parents are trying to accuse him of, I haven't heard any of that from players.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then the other side of that is the roster building.
Mm.
When you talk about programs, and the good programs attract kids, whether they are within that school's attendance district or folks who transfer in. And we all know everybody is doing the transfer bit, even though that school districts want to say we don't allow that or whatever. But we all know the mascot for some football programs in districts across North Carolina should be a turnstile because cats are coming in and going out.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened as far as time could go back. I mean, it's happened. You hear
at least since the 80s.
Well, you hear the Nick Maddox story for A.L. Brown. He was supposed to go to Shelby, but moved up to Kannapolis because his mom got a job real quick. In the textile mills there in Kannapolis, they're cannon mills, and it happened back then. You hear about Chris Leak and how he was in a different district, but he moved, and because his brother, it's happened.
Yeah,
we're getting in the weeds.
High-profile cases.
Yeah, we're in the weeds, but it's happened.
But my point is, can West Charlotte still be the type of place that will not only keep the athletes who
are there,
should be there,
yeah,
but also attract the kids who say, you know what, I want to play for that coach, depending on who that next coach is.
They've got to get a good one. I think Sam was a very charismatic type guy, and he connected well with the players that people wanted to play for him. I mean, it wasn't until this year where you really saw people transferring out. I know KD Cotton went to Weddington. He had been at West Charlotte his whole career leading up to that point, and transferred early in the season. But I don't know. They got to find the right guy, or this program will flounder.
Yeah. Well, you hate to see that, but sometimes that's just the way it is. The rich get richer, and then if you take a piece out from a team that has some success, you find out it's really not as secure as you would think it is. So, yeah. But we'll see.
It's unfortunate, but my final comment on it is, I'm not going to take sides on this issue, but I do feel for Sam. I do feel for the situation. If you know you didn't do anything wrong, back like in 2022 when you're under investigation by CMS, keep fighting. But if you did, own it, that type of thing. And, I wish him nothing but the best of luck. I know he's a friend, and we hadn't been able to communicate because of just my position and my role, as far as my job. But, it's rough.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough to see someone and you've gotten to know closely having to go through this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll see how that all turns out, both the investigation and the West Charlotte program moving forward, as well as for Sam Greiner, what his next move is. But all that is TBD, to be determined. And in the meantime, go to our website, charlottepost.com, and become a subscriber or a donor. And in addition to those options, become a subscriber to our sports newsletter. It comes out every Thursday. And today is the day that it comes out. It's curated. by moi. And it has everything in there in terms of the professionals, colleges, and high schools. So we are all over it. And if you are checking this podcast out at our YouTube page, become a subscriber, and we would appreciate that as well. And if you are into the audio space, obviously, Queen City Podcast Network and Spotify, as well as Apple Podcasts. So do yourself a favor, turn yourself on to the offerings that your Charlotte Post makes available.
I like that. Your Charlotte Post.
Absolutely.
And a quick pitch as well to, we cover football a lot. And we are trying to, bring back sort of kind of our Football 704 initiative. Wanted to throw in that as well. I did a recent conversation with Charlotte 49ers coach Tim Albin as a part of our kind of Football 704 initiative, because there is a lot of football.
And it
in
never
Charlotte.
ends.
It never ends. The Panthers are somewhat on the up and up. Not right now, they're tied for first in the NFC South. Charlotte 49ers are heading into year 2 with Tim Albin, raising more funds. That's one thing we talked about a lot in our conversation, to build a roster competitive enough to be in the American Conference and to get more than one win.
Against some actual FBS opposition. I'm just saying.
But high schools as well. A lot of good high school football in this area, from Independence to West Charlotte, TBD, and Hough High School, and just others. A lot of great stories here as well. Garinger got their first win in several years this season. And
the only one, too.
God, why do you just let me do my pitch?
Continue, please.
God, trying to promote it here.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Jupiter Wilson doing great things at Garinger, getting, obviously the population of the team up, more kids to come out for football. So there's a lot of great stories to be told in the football realm of the American version, as well as soccer. But, that's, QCFC.
Mm-hmm.
But be sure to tune into all of our Football 704 coverage. We're going to be trying to ramp that up and eventually do more chalk talks down the road. But if you enjoy our Football 704 coverage, be sure to tune in and let us know, and click, so we know that you're interested.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
End of my pitch.
Thank you so much, sir. And for everybody here at the office in beautiful Derrida, that's Kim. I'm Herb. Thanks for watching and listening.